Great. I'd like to call the Plimpton Monday, May 20, what's today? 21st school committee meeting to order. I'm calling the meeting to order because today we are going to reorganize the school committee. I'd like to open the meeting by taking any motions for chair.
Madam Chair, ad hoc, I would like to make a motion that we vote a slate of officers retaining the current chair, vice chairman, and secretary as is.
Any other requests? All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Since the chairman is not here, that's what you get for being absent, you get elected, we will allow the vice chair to take over. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Joy. Appreciate that. The organizational chart was sent out in an email. If you don't have a copy,
She has a hard copy.
So what I'd invite you to do is look through, and if you have any questions or interest, email John and let him know, and he can walk you through some of those things. Again, now that you're officially part of the committee, you need to be careful about replying all to all of us, because that's actually a violation of the open meeting rule. But if you go directly to John and John only, you can have conversations about what the committees are and how many times they meet and responsibilities. And you can always contact Joy, and you don't have to worry about the open meeting violation because she's exempt from those rules. All right. So moving on, we will acknowledge our guest, and we have Miss Clausen from first grade here. I hope to have you out of here before 6 o'clock. Oh, Mrs. Pacinin from kindergarten. I'm so sorry.
We graduated you up. Sorry.
Wow. There you go. Okay. Well, I apologize for that. And we have no other guest in the audience tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who was in this room at town meeting last week. We're going to talk a little bit more about the budget that was passed and some of the articles that passed, but I appreciated the town coming out in strength and voting to support our schools yet again, so thank you very much for that. Look for a motion to approve the minutes of our April 23rd, 2018 meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 23rd, 2018.
And I will second that. All those in favor of approving the minutes from April 23rd, 2018? Okay, unanimous pass. School committee correspondence, I have none. Joy, do you have any directed to us? Great. New business, moving on to the annual report.
I think John just submitted it, and it was in the town meeting.
Okay.
We actually could probably remove that at this point.
All right, sounds good. On to unfinished business. Do you have any updates on the Dennet driveway sign?
I do not. I think the PTO is looking at it, but I don't know anything beyond that.
Okay.
Or CASA, excuse me.
Great. So the water treatment plan update. Christine, do you have any new information on that, or are we all?
What I do know is that we paid the invoice. There was an invoice that was submitted to us as payment number one, and we did take care of that, and we also paid an invoice for Green Seal, because they're the project manager for this. Other than that, I'm not sure how much progress has happened since that point in time.
Okay. But obviously, when you drive through the parking lot here next to the auditorium, you can see that there's been some groundwork done. That's for the dry well for the water treatment plant, and town meeting allowed us to use some of the monies to transfer in to finish off the job. Great. Okay, so the playground safety, accessibility, and modernization. Peter and I have had some conversations, and with the help of Joy, making some contacts. We are in the game right now. We're talking about maybe including some members of the community and some parents in a small ad hoc committee moving forward, just to make sure we have stakeholders and different abilities around the table as we start to come up with our ideas for our new playground. Again, this is just in the beginning stages of dreaming and planning. We hope to go to, Mike, how are you?
How's it going?
Very good. We hope to go to CPA potentially next fall with some ideas and plans to see if they're interested in supporting the playground design. And that's it for unfinished business. Moving on to review of reports of standing committees. I don't think there was an admin review between now and the last meeting. Okay. And there's been no negotiation meetings. There's been no Union 31 meetings. Mike, have you had a PAC meeting since last we met?
No, well, it was when I was just before vacation.
Right.
It wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
Everybody voted for me. They are looking for another space to rent. If anybody knows, if you talk to anybody else around the other communities, I know they're thinking about maybe looking at the Kingston Mall for some space that's empty up there to try to, the building, the building's old.
Absolutely.
The furnace is shot over there. They really need another space, so they're desperate if anybody has any needs.
So we're talking for their central office, not for...
Central office, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mike. There has been no policy meeting, luckily
No.
for us.
Nope. Thank goodness.
Capital improvement, capital request. I would like us to have an executive session at our next meeting to continue our conversation about safety concerns for the building and ways that we can look into modernizing our building. Again, we do that in executive session, not to share sensitive information. Legislative agent. I was lucky enough to be up at the State House about 3 weeks ago, really pressing the State Senate on fully funding circuit breaker, and it looks like they came in with a proposal of about $319 million for next year, which would be the full 75% level of circuit breaker, which is their statutory obligation. It's in chambers right now between the House and the Senate to reconcile a bill that they can send to the governor. So the budget still isn't final, but this is the most school-friendly budget that I've seen in years. So it's good news. Single signature warrants, were there any?
There was one single signature warrant that John Nixon did sign. It had 2 invoices, one for the new water system and one for the project manager. It was a total of $44,884.50. And I did bring a copy with me in case anybody would like to look at it.
Thank you, Christine. Administration, we're on to the principal's report, and Peter is not with us tonight for this meeting. But
Nope, he is
Joy
not.
has it.
Peter was unable to find anyone to cover coaching his daughter's softball game, so he had to coach. So
Absolutely.
I thought it would be okay. I thought everybody would understand. We all have our priorities. So he put together his principal's report, currently 204 students in the building. As you can see for the important dates, there is a lot going on, which there always is this time of year. Many, many field trips, lots of wonderful activities, and just finishing up MCAS, and I'm sure everyone is quite happy about that, to be done with it. And the last day of school is June 22nd, a very important day for us all, and our next school committee meeting is June 25th. I did want to mention Peter put together changes for the handbook, and there's a whole packet here, and he has highlighted any changes. What I'd like to ask you to do, if you didn't mind, was to read these over, and we can vote these at our next meeting in June. He highlighted the areas where there are any changes. Most of the changes were due to the coordinated program review, which Jill is pretty happy to have just submitted. And there were certain requirements for updates in terms of some of the language around civil rights and discipline that we needed to do. So all of our handbooks will now have the same language. So he's just highlighted them so you can see. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to Pete, myself, or Jill.
All right, so CASA update is one of the things we're going to be looking to fill on our organizational chart. I have no CASA update for the board at this moment. Okay, so moving on to the Director of Business Services, Christine. Sorry, Christine.
I'm sorry to take you notes. We are doing our way through the year. We're going to get through the year fine. Just a few things that have happened since last we met. If you look on the financial on page 2 of the detail, about 2/3 of the way down the page, you'll see we now have a deficit in our gas account. And that's a result of our winter cold spells that have been there. And if you have a contract for our gas account, what happened was one day when we exceeded our overage for the price of that one day went very high for the overage. So we developed a deficit in the account. Right now, we're expecting a deficit of $3,600 to get us to the end of the year. But I do want to mention that we're also looking at a contract going forward, and we have built in a clause where we can go over by any amount, so we wouldn't be in this predicament again. And the price for the posting is actually how much the price we're paying now, but we won't have any of those significant overages. So I did want to make sure everybody knew we were looking into that.
And Christina, we're going to have budgetary offsets to cover that $3,600 deficit?
There are some offsets right in that very account, the utility account, our electric, and surplus this year that's
Great.
still standing at this point.
Great.
The other item I wanted to mention is a couple of accounts down, it's the contract with services line, which is maintenance of the building. Right now, there's a deficit of $77,000 there. That's the account we paid for the costs associated with the new generator that we purchased. And at last week's town meeting, the town did approve allowing us to transfer from the surplus in our district vocational account to this area. So we will be transferring $70,000 in there. We have on the side of this information noted, but I don't make the changes until I see the certified votes from the town. And I'm going to give them a call tomorrow to see when I can expect to get those. But I just wanted you to know that that's out there, and we will be transferring $70,000 to cover that. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is on the very last page, under our district vocational, where we had been projecting a deficit. That surplus was used at last week's town meeting. We had two uses for that. We transferred $70,000, like I just mentioned, to the maintenance of the building account. And then we'll also be transferring $25,000 out of this account to help cover the additional cost of the water system. So hopefully on next month's financial, we have all those items reflected. So we're working our way through the year, and I'll bring you back to the
Great. Great. Thank you very much, Christine. And now moving on to our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Jill, Curriculum Instruction Assessment Update.
So thank you. The curriculum coordinators have created a survey-type instrument to be used by departments and grade levels to detect bias in curriculum materials. And this is in direct response to the coordinated program review. It's something that they can use each year, and it helps them to focus on and address any gaps or stereotypes or bias within our curriculum materials. In the changes here for the handbook, you'll notice the notice of non-discrimination, the bullying protocol. The main change to the bullying protocol is that not all of the handbooks had included in the definition of bullying that a staff member is included in that definition, not just students. And then notice of non-discrimination, making sure that all of the protected categories were listed. And making sure that every time that list of categories appeared, that it was the same group. The notice of proposed suspension all the way up through 37H and 3/4 is all new material that relates to those laws in terms of long-term suspensions. So those are just some examples of some of the changes that have come about as part of our review and making sure that we are compliant with the related civil rights regulations. We have decided upon our administrative retreat dates. We've selected June 26th and 27th, and then again on August 22nd to meet with the administrative team. It's a chance for us to get together to review the plan for success, to create an action plan for the upcoming year, and to set goals for ourselves for the upcoming year. So it's a very busy time. Retreat makes us feel just a little bit better about working in that capacity in a short period of time and getting a lot done. So, and it is a nice opportunity for us to get together across the district to make sure that we have a shared vision so that we can meet our goals. The Professional Development Council reviewed the February survey results, and they were disappointed by the low response rate on that survey. Part of the issue is that the survey was administered at the end of the Professional Development Day, which was the day before vacation. And so one of the recommendations that came out of it was to make sure that we incorporate time, regardless of where our PD days fall, so that staff can have a chance to fill it in within the last 10-15 minutes of a day so that we can generate more responses, or at least try. And The PD Council were also invited to participate and attend in the Mental Health Summit with a social emotional learning focus. Everyday classroom practices, social emotional learning in schools were topics that most directly apply to the type of professional development we have been focusing on this year. And then finally, I had the pleasure of being invited to come to Dennet to visit your newest members of your community, the chicks, the baby chicks that hatched, and so that was quite a treat, so thank you.
Right, any questions for our Assistant Superintendent? Thank you very much, Jill. And on to our Superintendent, Joy.
Thank you. So I finally had an opportunity to put together the draft meeting schedule, and what we did is, I know this was something Mike's particularly been interested in, was I used the old Rochester meeting schedule and I filled in our dates. I believe, did I not give you a hard copy, Mike?
I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I used the old Rochester dates. Again, I'm not looking for you to vote on this now, but I would really ask you to think seriously if the schedule works, and we will need to take a vote on this in June. The closeout dates are always the dates in July. It's basically 6 weeks in the fall, and then once we're into budget season, it's every month, mainly because it's necessary to do that to make sure we have our budget done. And then starting in about April, we go back to 6 weeks, and then into May, and then our closeout in July. Seems to be a schedule that makes some sense. I believe it will work. I'm interested in trying it. I don't know if everybody will feel that there are enough meetings. We can always add meetings if we would like to, but again, it lessens the amount of meetings per committee by about two to three, depending. So,
How's the feedback been from the other
everybody seems to really like it. Yeah, everybody seems pretty interested in it. So I'm optimistic it could work. The only one that's a little odd is we are meeting Valentine's Day at Silver Lake, but that is the normal one. I'm not sure that it is that big a deal, but that is our normal February meeting date, the second Thursday. So I guess we'll have to have a red cake or something, but outside of that, we'll be good. But I think everybody seems interested in it. I'm not sure really how else to try it. If we, as I said, it was sort of once you started putting them all on one page, you began to realize why it is so complicated to do it, because it just throws everybody off. So we shall see, but I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts or suggestions? Or
I love it, and I've been a proponent of our administrators spending less time at meetings and more time doing things that directly impact the students of our schools. And if this takes 7 or 8 meetings off the plate for your higher level staff members, I appreciate it for that sake. I also heard some people mentioning when we have the Union 31 Silver Lake joint school committees, that might be an appropriate venue for some of the presentations your administrators make. So they can give it once in that venue, and all 4 school committees can hear it. I think that is a splendid idea as well.
Right. So again, we'll take a vote on this next month. Okay. Town meeting update. I want to thank the town of Plimpton for supporting the Dennet budget as well as the Silver Lake budget. We really appreciate the process. The finance committee, the selectmen were both supportive, as was the town. When they took the votes, however, all 3 of our numbers that we voted as a school committee were slightly different than the amounts voted by the town. We had had a conversation with the finance committee and agreed to move the money from the vocational to lower that amount. That was one that we knew. The amounts for the regular education as well as the special education, because of the way they figured it, they were slightly different. It's not by a lot, but what we'd like to do is to actually make a motion so that the votes we have on record are the same as what was taken by the town. And I believe Mr. Fraser has those motions.
I make a motion that the Plimpton School Committee approve the 2018-2019 elementary school operating budget of $2,369,542 as the amount deemed necessary for the operation of the regular day.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. I make a motion that the Plimpton School Committee approve the 2018-2019 elementary school special education budget of $1,034,921.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. I make a motion that the Plimpton School Committee approve the 2018-2019 elementary out-of-district vocational education budget of $120,000. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you so much. Anything else? Christine on that?
On the books, I'm good.
Perfect. And the last thing is school lunch. So we recently had an audit by the state on our lunch program, and we were cited that we were not charging enough for school lunch. So the lunch equity tool figures out the amount of money that is I know, Mike, I'm sorry. It's sort of astounding. We've had to do this in the other 3 districts. The amount of money that is paid to the districts for free and reduced lunch meals, and we have to charge enough money so that the free and reduced lunch meals are not paying an unfair burden for the cost of the food. So the amount that was required was $292. I was going to say $287, and then I believe next year it's going up another 5 cents to $2.90, whatever. So we were going to recommend and have in all the elementary schools that we raise the price to $3 for lunch. Again, this is not something that we are doing for any reason other than we are required to. Sorry. I know. I don't know what to tell you. This is my world.
I just want to say stuff, but I also just want to get out of here. Stupid federal government.
Yeah.
Okay, but we do need to take care of our kids who are on free and reduced lunch, and if this is what it takes, I hate to do this to the rest of the families of Dennet. Under no circumstances have I ever wanted to raise the price of school lunch, and I just want to make that perfectly clear.
Right.
I think Joy made that clear as well,
Right.
but it's coming from both sides of the table. I will make a motion that we raise the price of the school lunch to $3 next year. A second. Would anybody else like to comment before we take a vote? All right. All those in favor?
Thank you. Again, my apologies. It is a tool that figures out what lunches are supposed to cost based on what we spend for food and based on the amount of reimbursement for free and reduced lunch. So
I'm glad they're here to take care of us.
yes, they are so helpful that way. And that is all I had.
Oh,
And you might have set a new record.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. You got to make the motion. Go ahead. Give it to me. So moved.
So moved.
All right, second. Second. Okay, our next meeting is June 25th, 2018. Will the kids still be in school, or will
No,
that be?
22nd is the last
Wow,
day.
good for them. I'll still
Yeah.
be working.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor of adjournment? All right, cool.
Nice.
Thank you very much.